backside trying to take down Patrick. Nukeduck has been chipped away. He's got no ult for the reset. Who's going to come out on top? Finn off to the side. Marcoon going golden in the midst of the fight, but Humanoid looking to finish the kill. He doesn't quite time the distortion, right? But he doesn't need to. Patrick, though, popping off, getting the resets. He's behind in items, but maybe he's got enough power to finish this one out. Scrappy fight in the mid lane. 2 for 1 against Fnatic.
XL still holding on. A lot of things went wrong for Fnatic in this fight because of how split they are. Hylissang doesn't really want to be in this position because the rest of his team's on the other side. They're in mid lane, so 3 members commit onto him. He dies, and Nukeduck just buys time here. Pops the ultimate. Fnatic just running around trying to find the kill. Then pops the Zhonya. Still Fnatic running around. And by the time they realize what's happened, XL are regrouped. They got a kill, and now Humanoid comes back in. Marcoon, stopwatch is here. Watch Humanoid. The W doesn't hit in time. He mistimes it a bit, so he lives for a second longer, which allows Patrick to step up and get a kill. And then XL, 2 for 1 in their favor. Fnatic have nothing left to turn because Razork's so low HP.
Intense skirmish. And again, Hylissang getting caught off to the side. First death of the game has been pretty clean thus far. Silvermere Dawn now coming in. Big damage comes in, but that's going to be the lockup now. Humanoid's locked down. He's got golden, but they know exactly who they need to click. TP coming in, but Nukeduck can't join. He's already in the midst of the fight. Razork now going to the backside. He's stolen away the Nautilus. He's going to look for the reset, and this is a big fight for Fnatic. There's the gold lead. There's the straight-up 5v5 they were waiting for. XL obliterated.
I think they can just run it down and end now. They have a wave, 40 seconds on all of XL, and it all comes off the back of Humanoid. Looking for damage onto Mickey. Upset gets 1,000 kills in the LEC, and he's going to end the game after he gets it.
Fantastic performance from Fnatic. Upset, congrats on 1,000 kills.
0 deaths as well.
Exactly 1,000 kills. He's going to end the season with 11 deaths, the new death record of all time. Masterclass from Fnatic. They will lock themselves in the top 2 and secure Upset. 2 significant moments, a milestone and a personal record. It was an incredible game.
So now Fnatic's eyes are on Rogue versus G2. If Rogue lose, that means that they lock first place.
Fnatic lock first place if Rogue lose.
Yep. Fnatic lock first place if Rogue lose, which means they can choose who they play against in playoffs in the first round in the upper bracket.
The choice would be, of course, between G2 and Misfits. So pretty big. I think Misfits would be looked at as the weaker competitor. They have obviously had a fantastic split thus far, but are yet unproven in best of 5s.
And of course, with Fnatic winning means we'll have no tiebreaker between Fnatic and G2 at the end of the day. So Game 5 will be the last game. There won't be a Game 6 to settle any tiebreakers.
We'll shed a single tear for that one because we were kind of hyped for it.
I kind of wanted that, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously Fnatic just feel like a cut above so often in their wins. Kia player of the game at LEC on Twitter. Humanoid upset Hylissang.
As much as I would celebrate Upset's 1,000 kills, Hilly did pop off.
Hilly did pop off.
He was everywhere.
Yeah. Only got 2 deaths because of 1 misposition in a team
one
fight.
diving the Nexus.
And 1 diving the Nexus.
As he always does. Doesn't care about his KDA.
There you go. Bring it down.
Yeah.
The lowest.
The lower
He's
the
going
better.
for it. That's all we want. Taking time, though, of course, congrats again to Fnatic locking top 2. It's big. Exciting to see who will get first. Time to find out. The fight for first, of course, going to continue up next with Rogue versus G2. And after the break, Wonder is going to join us at the desk to preview the last game of the Spring 2022 regular season.
Week 8 already. Last game.
Why?
I'm gonna go take a break.
Cool.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
to the LEC. We're very excited to welcome Wonder to the analyst desk to quickly talk about their win and preview Rogue versus G2 as well. Hello, Wonder. Congratulations.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. If you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit more about your season overall than about this particular game. But just so we have it covered, you did drop a game to XL last time. So what was the strategy going into this one?
I mean, I don't know if you had like any strategy in particular, but of course this was like a frustrating game, I guess, for me personally, because I was giving him like the shy peak J Season 8 treatment at the top lane. But then I think, like, I don't know, there was a lot of random fights going on that kind of made Camille catch up again, and we didn't play like too well this game. I think this was one of the outliers where we kind of went back to how we played the first couple of weeks with a lot of random face checks, a lot of random fights with like no thought behind it. But I think this is something generally we've been pretty good at avoiding in our recent games. So maybe this was just a one-off. And yeah, I mean, going into playoffs, I'm confident that we'll play better than this regardless.
Okay, well, even if you have those mistakes, but you're able to win the game, that is of course not all bad news. I'd love to, of course, talk to you about the Misfits game yesterday specifically, because I can imagine that's really a thorn in your eye. How did you as a team talk about what happened in that game?
I mean, there's a few people, of course, who didn't like, they're not used to fighting for first, I guess, in the split. But a lot of these games always happen, like all these random throws. There's always going to be one. I mean, if it's the second last game of the split, or if it's like in the middle of the split where you throw like a crazy lead, for example, like G2 did against Misfits, or basically just any other game, right? It always happens. It's a BO1, and we still have a game. I mean, we still had a game today, right? So we couldn't really. It's not like we should be too frustrated about what happened in the game. It was also a very simple, like, over chase into Jinx, gave her resets, gave them dash, and then the game is suddenly even again. And with all the pauses that threw us off, it was pretty easy to just shrug it off and go into the next game.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And as you say, it happens to any team, and you still have kind of a cushion of protection. And now you won this game, so you're still in the race for that #1 spot. So now let's talk about the final match of the spring 2022 season: Rogue versus G2 Esports. If Rogue wins, if Rogue wins this game, they will be the first seed going into the playoffs. And Fnatic fans would love a G2 window, because that would lock you in to first place, Wonder, which is kind of poetic, seeing your ex-teammates. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think G2 is the better team, and I think they should win. But of course, it's a BO1. Rogue has been pretty strong this regular split, or maybe not like in the later half of the split. But anything can happen, right? I still believe in my boys in G2 that they're gonna pull through.
They've been ramping up, Niski.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Wonder?
Yeah, I think G2 will be. I already said it. I think they will be the team that will join Fnatic in the finals. It's my prediction, at least. I don't know what you think, Wonder, but I feel like G2 has been playing way better, and I think Caps also has been proving that he can still be at the top in EU.
Yeah, I mean, I think G2. I mean, it's also G2 was always really strong. I think they had like a lot of weird picks, which also makes them good, of course. This is also like always what made G2 good. They're willing to like experiment during the split, find out what works for them. But I think when like their serious mode kind of turns on and they want to win a game, I think they are for sure up here with us amongst like the best in LEC. And I think Rogue, I mean, they have been falling off quite a bit. And of course, in theory, it would have maybe been better for us to be third place. So we either play Rogue or Misfits, because I think G2 right now is for sure with us the two best teams in top 4. So it's going to be interesting for sure. I wouldn't mind playing against them. You have to play against any team at any point anyways. And there's double elimination, right? So if we play against them, if we get second place, or if we play against them in the finals later on, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, it would be really fun to see that matchup. I do want to come back to kind of the Rogue point you made, and why is it that you don't, I guess, aim or not see them as highly or getting that far necessarily in playoffs?
I think a Rogue thing was something they always do in regular split, is that they get a lot of wins from just playing the really good late game comps. They have like a lot of Jinx wins, a lot of Victor wins, and maybe something as a contrast For example, if you look at Vitality, they rarely play these champions. They are really struggling. They like to play the Yasuo, Diana, Renekton, something that works maybe better in scrims because you get a lot of early kills. There's a lot more action going on. There's dives that are not being prevented as easily and stuff like this as on stage. But Rogue just sits back. Of course, they have Malrang, who is like who is active in the early game and they can win early game. Like they're not a bad team by any means. But I think most of their wins against most teams come from like their Victor, their Jinx, their late game champs that are not going to be as potent, I guess, in playoffs because a lot of teams are going to be playing the same way.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rogue will be one of the teams that you can really analyze and just kind of counter their playstyle, because I feel like they only have like one dimension where it's like Larsen on control mage, Malrang on ganking jungler, helping his lanes, and I feel like they've that it really helped them in best of ones. But I think once best of fives will come, I think other teams will catch up to them easily.
Maybe we'll get to talk to them in PGL and ask them a few questions about that. Wonder, I'd also love to know what you think about Vitality and their chances in playoffs. Of course, they just made it, and Perkz is, of course, there. What do you think their possibilities are and maybe their issues?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, right, that draft is probably their number one issue. For sure, because of that draft, I don't know if they're like missing like some cohesion or confidence or something in each other because they are in the spot that they're in, right? I'm not sure what goes in like within Vitality, but I think like for sure that draft was the number one problem. Yeah, and as opposed to Rogue, I mean, they played a lot of stuff where it's a lot of individual players that have to make the plays, and they can't just win by sitting back and not doing anything. So they always have to look for something, and if it backfires, it's really hard for them to bounce back into the game. But I think, I mean, that they're playing Excel in playoffs, right? First match, and they should be able to beat them. I don't think Excel has like much going on for them. Like they're not as good as Rogue as playing at the late game, and they're not as good as, for example, like a G2 or maybe even a Vitality at playing like the other side. So they're just kind of there, I feel like. So that should be a win for Vitality, but who knows?
Who knows, indeed. Anything can happen. There's also 3 weeks between now and then. Thank you very much, Wonder, and good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you very much.
All right, awesome. We're going to head over to our casters for our last game of the spring of 2022. Rogue versus G2. Take it away, guys.
Vibing. This is going to be great. I'm so excited for this game.
I can feel the energy.
I don't know if you've ever watched the Salvatore Ganache video, but I feel like that, you're gliding across the ground. Yeah, it's a great time.
This is the 90th game in spring, the final one. 90 games it's been. 8 weeks.
Marathon.
Final game.
It's hype.
And
it's
what
exciting.
an important one. For first.
We need to talk about this because there's a lot of things going on here. So obviously this is a battle for first. If Rogue win, they are first. If Rogue lose, Fnatic are first and they will get second. But the important thing here is looking ahead towards top 4, specifically for what first means. First means choosing between third and fourth. And this is no offense to Misfits, but at this point, if you get first, you're probably picking Misfits because the other choice is G2. And at this point, Misfits have looked the rockiest. So that essentially means for G2, this game's massive. For Rogue, if they win, they get to play Misfits. That's the assumption. Of course, they can't pick G2. G2 gets Fnatic. G2, if they win this, we assume Fnatic will pick Misfits, and they get Rogue. So essentially, this game will decide our upper bracket.
Who. Yeah, it decides who's playing who. No matter what, G2 can't play against Misfits.
Yeah, no matter what, G2 can't play against
Fnatic.
Misfits. Exactly. And no matter what, Rogue cannot play against Fnatic.
Oh man, have we ever had a game like this where it decides the whole upper top of the table at the end of the split?
It happens. It's so we get so distracted, I think, and rightfully so, by who's going to make playoffs that you forget how important these games can be.
Yeah.
And this is a very intense bracket. You heard Wonder talk about it already. He feels like Fnatic and G2 are 2 of the strongest teams right now. And so it is a bit lopsided when it comes to picking between 3 and 4. Sometimes it's very comparable. Sometimes we're a very top-heavy league and there's only 1 or 2 teams. He's trying to dodge.
He's trying to
dodge. Look at that movement.
Clean movement. Yeah, I was speaking to Caps on PGL and they were doing like Yasuo 2v2s, who hits the Qs, and Caps was winning out on them 2-1. They're doing Yone ones as well. Mundo. G2 like their movement warm-ups, and BB's doing it outside the game while doing it inside the game as well.
I wonder if they have a win celebration for on-stage prepared.
Oh yeah, actually, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
because last time was the Dylan's birthday. The one before that was the basketball. We've seen the Yankos King. We've seen the Sur. What will we get for the final one?
Yeah, it's a good question.
If they win.
If they win. Because Rogue, while maybe less dominant than in the first half of the season, still obviously one of our best teams. And There's a lot of skepticism around Rogue in best of 5 because of, while they did win some good best of 5s, there was a lot of shaky performances. You think back to the Misfits best of 5 especially. So a lot of questions unanswered. But regardless, their regular season, their best of 1 performance has never been anything less than good. Fantastic even, very often. So need to see if they're going to show up today because, again, big stakes. We'll talk about them again in game. We'll talk about them a lot because this game, while it is just a single best of 1, has so much impact on the coming best of 5s.
Yeah, it's all about confidence, who they're going to play against. Small little fun fact, I think Broken Blade and Targamas have the most unique picks in their roles. So when we talk about G2's drafts, they love to experiment. These are the 2 players where counter pick is their bread and butter, and they've got such a deep champion pool. Caps is tied with the most unique champions as well. So 3 of their players first in that stat. They love their unique champions, and of course it's very hard for Jankos and Flakkit to do it because, I mean, the jungle meta is just kind of like Xin Zhao, Lee Sin, Jarvan, Viego, and then for AD carry, you know, it's the classic.
Well, yeah, so someone has to take the short end of the stick. If the support's playing all the crazy stuff, the AD carry has to play something, you know, a little bit more stable.
When will we get the meta where the AD carry can play a bit crazy? We saw the mages, which is one thing.
Literally never.
Yeah.
I cannot think of a meta where we've had like more than 3 good AD options. Of course, like good is a relative term. Some people would argue that there's been metas where you can play 4 or 5 picks, but usually there's like 2 good champions.
Maybe it changes for 12-5 though, because I mean last year in spring it was all about the Udyr Hecarim. Those were the 2 champions picked every game, and then that got changed and Rumble came, Morgana came. There was kind of some Darius every now and then. Maybe if Jinx and Aphelios get changed, that's what we'll get with AD carry. Some change before playoffs. We'll be on 12.5, and can I say, of course, again, Jankos is the loudest in the studio, as is always.
So, quick heads up as to why you're getting a bit of an extended Euphoria podcast with special guest interview with Shocks Wonder and the desk. It's we're experiencing a delay on stage to work with a player on a client-related issue. League officials are going to get that set. As long as they're doing that, you're going to be with us. But of course, better to get this done before the game starts than in the game.
Because if your client don't work, you're 4v5, and that ain't good.
And that ain't good. And
Numbers.
if you're top laner feed, you're also 4v5, and that's also not good. Wow.
Oh, I saw Odo around 5 minutes ago. He was chilling. His chair all the way back.
Yeah.
He's been here so many times. I won't say in like this specific situation, but he's got a wealth of experience
in the pause,
in the pause, in the pressure, in the chilling.
And that's the thing. It's like we're gonna keep the energy pretty low here. This is a big game and has big stakes. But when we get in a game, we'll ramp you back up. We'll get hyped up.
Oh, I can hear it.
And you can hear Jankos is still hyped up.
They
He's
probably
pumped.
hear it.
I'm not sure if you can hear it through our mics. If you can't, hopefully we'll get it on
I
your
think
stream
Trimby
soon.
also hears it. He's getting a bit laughing.
You can hear it.
You know, if you're loud enough, maybe it comes through the enemy team's mics as well. Maybe they're giving each other a bit of banter in the pre-game lobby as well.
That's one of
cracking some jokes.
The great strengths of Jankos is I feel like he's always in such a good mood. You know what I mean? And now clearly the 1v1s are continuing as we wait for the game delay, so they get more time to practice their Yasuo or whatever it is that they do.
The Dr. Mundo dodge the cleavers in the pit, but it must
gosh.
be so fun. I mean, Flakkit said this in an interview. It's like looking to your right and seeing Messi, Ronaldo, you know, Jankos and Caps.
Yeah.
Caps is always just so bubbly, and he vibes from vibes. You know, if the mood's good, Caps, he said it on PGL, he feels great. And I feel like Jankos is just always a player that'll bring you great vibes. And even if they're not great, all you have to do is hear his laugh, and then everyone's happy again because it's just so contagious.
And it's a good change of pace, I think, for G2 esports fans who saw a very promising roster last season ultimately fail. And everyone could feel it. The vibes were not great at the end of last season. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I don't know anything. I'm not trying to put any blame on anybody, but it's good to see so many players smiling and having a good time on stage. And time to see what they can do with it. As we get the seal clap.
Trying to get some more energy instilled in the team.
Yeah,
and then for Rogue, looking across, I mean, they look very serious. Rogue are always serious. We heard about their scrims. They're very kind of like all about the fundamentals, all about not getting sucked into the end, all about being step 1, step 2, step 3, checklist. This is how we win games. This is how we out a game. I mean, I'm sure the vibes are great as well, but on stage, it's just kind of 2 different atmospheres. It feels like from over here, you've got G2 who are just non-stop screaming, playing 1v1s, and Rogue seem a little bit chill.
Yeah. It's funny because Jankos feels like that meme with the one guy like sweating for his life in a game and Jankos just over here having a good time. But he's not. He's not like just like hands off the keyboard just chilling, but he gives that vibe.
And speaking of Jankos, I saw I Will Dominate tweets as well. Jankos is probably one of our best performing junglers in the entire league. Tied for first, maybe,
absolutely.
Contesting second. I mean, his early games have been incredible in getting G2 ahead. And although Malrang is always talked about for Rogue as like this dominant jungler who has this very specific style that maybe some teams are struggling in early spring, Jankos is in good form, very good form, as he always is.
And I think this meta where you can be super active in your early pathing, you can go for early plays, has always been so good for Jankos. I think back to his lease way back in the day on H2K, he's always been impactful. That's when he was getting the First Blood King title.
It's crazy to think how long he's been playing and how he's still so good.
Yeah, I feel like I've been here forever, and this man matches me by like 2 or 3 years. It's incredible.
Yeah, 2014, 2013, somewhere there. 7 or 8 years, 9 years down the line it could be, and still in peak condition. Caps as well. We saw the Collapses coming back. G2 looking scary.
Certainly are. I think, again, though, talking about Rogue on the opposite side, while it is, I feel like the G2 stage performance always brings our attention to them naturally. I really want to see Rogue perform in best of fives this year. And again, when you look at their record, people have highlighted this out to me before because we're often very critical of Rogue in best of fives. Their record is not the worst. They made it to finals last year. It was pretty solid. But how they made it was always a little bit suspect. And frankly, with Malrang on the team, we heard from Otawamne. The struggles that ultimately tore Rogue apart were actually not on the Rift, but behind the scenes. He called it, they had these huge conflicts. Was the big thing. Players were fighting and had struggles, and he said a lot of times when it comes to playoffs, the teams that succeed the most are the teams that have the least of those conflicts. G2 appear to be conflict-free. Now, I'm hoping for the same from Rogue in the weeks to come.
It's non-stop. They must be having some kind of 1v1s and 2v2s. Targamas is like the spectator, he's just smiling at the side, like laughing at all the jokes, but those four are definitely having some kind of 2v2s going on. They're probably switching teams to see who's the overall winner of this kind of internal tournament while they wait for the client issues to get fixed. Rogue, Larsen's chilling in his chair, and of course...
I mean, you've got client access. Should we ask if you can join
I don't have a login. I never asked for one, so I can't actually log into the client. What I was going to say, though, is if G2 win this game, they are probably facing Rogue in the best of 5.
Yeah.
This is a preview. If G2 win, they already have that kind of mini mental edge going into that best of 5 against Rogue in the upper bracket.
Certainly, and I think that's going to be super important. Obviously, its quality is going to be a different path. 80 carry meta remains relatively the same. It's Hullbreaker, it's Gwen, it's a few of these other champions who've been hit, not the big two in the 80 carry department.
Maybe Fnatic surprise us, Let's say Rogue lose and they choose G2, and they're like, you know what, we'll take you in the upper bracket straight away.
Dang. That's a grudge match. That's the narrative that you can't write. You just have to wait for it to happen.
The teams always pick the best team they think they have the highest chance to win, but I'm waiting for that Giga Chad team split. I don't care. Just pick it out of the hat.
We have to beat everybody in the end.
Come on, then.
And then if they get 3-0'd, they get embarrassed for the rest of their careers. That's probably why they don't do that.
They will go down as confident,
as legends.
Alphas, legends.
All right, here's the deal. We were experiencing a delay on stage to work with a player on a client issue. League officials were getting that set. You're with us for now, but not for much longer because it's fixed. So you'll stay with us, our voices, but action will be on your screen shortly. So it's time, ladies, gentlemen, everybody, whoever you are, you're welcome here because we have 30 seconds. I kind of built that up a little bit too soon. You're getting the play-by-play on the production talk.
Keep it. You can hold
Here
this.
we go. Everybody at home,
the final game.
I want you to slow clap, and I want you to build the pace up slowly.
I'm joining you here.
Here we go. I don't know if this sounds like trash on my mic.
What if the client crashes again?
Just keep going.
Okay, keep going.
Like Wolf of Wall Street.
8, 7.
Clap. Let's go. Last game of the split audience. Let's go. Let me hear you. If you went away and took a bathroom break, that's a fair call, because that was a bit of a long one, but it's time for Rogue G2 Esports. If Rogue win, they are first place. If they lose, Fnatic are first place. We expect first place to pick Misfits, which means it greatly affects the best of 5 matchups. What happens here? See who comes out on top. We'll keep you informed as we get later as to what those stakes are, so I can explain them even clearer and even more. But in the meantime, we are into draft, and 80 carries are hitting the bench.
Definitely are. Jinx taken away, Caitlyn taken away, Ryze TF still up. Zeri and Aphelios still up. Are we going to get a lot of AD bans, I wonder, because there's only 3 bans left. Jace taken away from Broken Blade. We know G2 love their Ryze Jace early rotation, playing for top, getting their top side rolling. Ryze taken away now already. Those are the 3 champions on my mind. TF, Zeri, Aphelios.
And the big thing that makes G2 interesting as we head into playoffs is they're one of the few topside teams in a meta full of Aphelios and Jinx where it feels like it's a guaranteed win if you can get that champion ahead. G2 are the outlier, the team that will play towards Broken Blade, that will give him the wild, crazy counter picks. But Rogue potentially ready to fight through that. Already taking the Jinx away limits some of the options here. Aphelios taken off the board too. This is a pretty big call, I feel like. What is the priority going to be?
Yuumi ban. So are they going to give them Zeri and trade it for TF, or are we going to take TF and give G2 Zeri? I feel like TF would have been the better call, but they're going to take the Zeri because TF enables topside so much. Ryze down, but it does give counter pick to Larsen. They could look for something like the Orianna into it, but that's going to be an insta-lock here. Are they going to pick up the Xin Zhao here? Maybe the Jinx would be the safest early rotation in the draft. Thinking about mid jungle AD. With Yuumi being down, they preemptively banned this champion because they knew they were giving up Zeri. They don't want to give away the Yuumi Zeri. There's the TF Xin Zhao. Are we going to get a mid-match here? Maybe something like Hecarim Orianna could work well for Rogue.
I like the global pressure that comes out from the Twisted Fate, though. A lot of pressure on Larssen now to have a big lane impact in the lane against Caps. If he goes for a more scaling, slower option, certainly the TF can start to take over elsewhere on the map. And again, this sets up so much success for Broken Blade on the top side. Rogue will have the luxury potentially of banning away 2 more top laners in the second phase if G2 want to save last pick for him. But G2 already feels like solid draft for what they want. That said, Hecarim, super powerful pick in the meta. See it banned away in the eastern regions all of the time. Potentially now going to have Sylas come out as well.
Teamfight, I think, is maybe what could be better for Rogue here. Orianna Victor comes to mind. Orianna Hecarim working a little bit better, that the Victor has a very good lane phase into the TF. But of course, TF Xin Zhao really good gank setup. TF really facilitates his jungler as much as possible. They could also drop mid here and pick support. I feel like Larssen has enough champions, but Orianna Victor bans will come through. Gonna go for the Victor. The strong lane phase will be vulnerable, but there's an insta-lock Tristana from G2. We see Tristana picked into Zeri. We also see some kind of Samira lanes being picked into it. All in the early game. Keeper on the tower. I'm guessing some kind of engaged support here for Targamas is what they're thinking.
I like the buffer for the Hecarim knockback as well. A lot of slow CC between the Victor and the Hecarim, so easy to react with the rocket jump. Renata also going to be taken away.
So it looks like G2 are targeting supports. Rogue could do the same kind of thing or ban out counter-pick tops. Things like the Irelia or the Akshan or the Akali Gwen for when they do blind pick Oruamne's top laner. Maybe they're looking at something like Graves. And the Gwen already taken off. G2 last support ban. Nautilus up, Leona up. Could ban one, kind of trade it.
You expect the 4 pick to go to support naturally to save counter pick for Broken Blade. Could mix it up though. Targamas again. These are the 2 players on the team with the biggest champion pools from what we have seen. So either one could take the luxury of last pick.
Yeah, it's very common for G2 to just do mid jungle AD in the first 3. Rakan banned away. I don't expect any brown blind picks. Rakan of course does well into that. Maybe they're thinking of engaged supports. Last ban for Rogue.
Really love TF Pyke. Want to put that note out there depending on the support matchup. Again, gold card into all of Pyke's damage, makes kills and picks so easy, dives as well.
That spells a Graves blind pick to me with Tryndamere Gwen being taken away. Maybe G2 want to take it from them. But I mean, Broken Blade has such a deep champion pool that maybe has another counter to it.
He's taken the Yone into Graves a few times. I don't love it in this draft, I'll be honest, but it obviously has been something that's worked for them.
Oh, there's the engaged support we're talking about. Alistar would work very well with the Tristana. And now it's up to Rogue to finish up their last rotation. Could go for some kind of range support with the Zeri.
Sylas support into Alistar.
Oh,
I'm just gonna mention it because Sylas support is something that has been played. It is still very, very fringe at best.
Our blind pick could come in for Oruamne. Broken Blade will have a plethora of counter picks available to him. Starting with Irelia. Yone, I presume, is something that he's in his wheelhouse. Camille could also work with the TF. Play over side lane is what G2 wants to do. Play to top side, get stacked waves, get dives going onto Odo. And now last pick here for Trimby. Nautilus could make the comp feel well-rounded. Could also go for a range support like we talked about earlier. Poppy would do well. Tristana, Alistar jumping forwards or backwards, whatever it may be, combo can be cancelled if he has confidence on it. There's a lot of pocket picks here. Poppy support, Sylas support could work into their champions. Does he want to go for something a little bit different? Confidence.
I like the Poppy. Galio, not bad. Of course, the taunt's certainly good against Xin Zhao in the 3rd Q. Can't do a lot there. Taking the time hovering over what is the option going to be in the top lane for Broken Blade going up against the Gnar. Anything is possible. And remember, this is really important because G2 Esports frequently draft for Broken Blade, so him coming into playoffs, playing at a high level is big. And if he wins here, this is the team that Rogue will most likely play in a best of 5.
Okay. Sorry.
Akshan.
You
have to talk about it because he brought it up on Euphoria. Vayne, Hullbreaker top. We've hit it.
Yeah, I mean, into Gnar, Hecarim, Galio, it would do pretty well, but against, of course, Victor, it would struggle in fights. There's Broken Blade's Akshan. It's his most picked top laner of the split. 2 wins, 1 loss on it so far. Did pick it against XL in their win as well earlier in the week. So, G2's comp, a lot of side lane. A lot of playing for top. Bot lane has a lot of all-in potential as well, so both sides can be played towards, but a lot of single target damage as well, whereas if you look across the Rogue's team fight, a lot of zone control, Hecarim ult, Victor ult, Mega Gnar, Galio ult, Taunt, the E's, there's so much engage, so much AoE damage, good scaling, and a very well-rounded teamfight comp.
Rogue's draft looks super solid. Yeah, they don't have the same big side lane threats and the potential of Akshan if he does snowball, but you're right. The sheer amount of CC, every single champion except for Zeri packing a huge amount of CC in this draft is a terrifying prospect for G2 if they fall behind at all.
They're going to have to be very careful of how they pick their fights. Always have numbers advantage. Always look for side lane plays, look for picks, and look for the first target before Rogue can unleash the amount of damage they have from their ultimates.
Keep track, of course, on the Zeri. Tristana lane plays out as well. Something to watch as we head into playoffs if there are going to continue to be Aphelios and Jinx bans. 12-5, I think. Playoffs match? Not sure. We'll confirm.
Saw some Sins out changes.
Small Sins out nerfs. Could take him off the meta, of course, is showing up in this game in the hands of Jankos, but not going to stop a lot of these high-impact early game jungles. But now it's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Rogue versus G2, the final game of the regular season. Oh man, I love that song. The part where it goes wah wah. Does it for me every time. We're getting ready. Rogue versus G2 Esports. Again, really quick while we have a brief moment of respite before anyone starts killing each other. Last game of the regular season, there will be no tiebreakers. If Rogue win, Rogue are first, Fnatic second, Misfits third, G2 fourth. If G2 win, Fnatic are first, Rogue are second, Misfits are third, G2 are fourth. So no matter what happens, Misfits are third, G2 are fourth, but Rogue and Fnatic first is going to be what's at stake here in this game.
They swap around, and it decides who gets to pick who they face, and the other will face the one who was not chosen. The chosen one.
And I'm sure in PGL we'll break down, we'll maybe have some sample brackets for you so you have a visual example. I understand if you're struggling to follow along just verbally, but don't worry, we'll keep you guys posted. We'll also find out who the teams are going to pick, so get ready for that. In the meantime, let's get in the game.
I like what Trimby's doing here. He's hovering towards the top side. You have a Hecarim. They have Akshan, Xin Zhao. That could be a level 1 invade. And Malrang did get invaded on in one of the games previously where he played Hecarim. And I think he decided to just go for an early bot gank and it worked out. So Trimby's just here to protect. He's going to stay here for quite a while. G2 are walking in. They haven't seen Trimby yet. This could be very dangerous.
Definitely could be. Trimby waiting in the darkness. It looks like they're ready to take the 2v2, but are they ready to take the 3v2? Malrang took a little bit of damage. Immediately the taunt. Jankos has been caught out, baited, and potentially outsmarted. Jankos goes down and tries to smite for a bit of health, but it will not matter. Well played by Rogue.
Such a good read by Trimby. He knew they'd go for this level 1 invade. It would make a lot of sense for G2 with a ranged top laner like Akshan. So much level 1 damage. And then once you push the Hecarim out or force his ghost or get the kill, you can split the map topside and look for dives onto the Gnar. But now Jankos is the one on the back foot.
Broken Blade, of course, still big health advantage on the top side of the map, but Caps suffering a little bit in the mid lane matchup, trying to extend the trade here, making maximum use of the E passive, but Larssen could maybe flash forward and go for the Q. Caps forced to flash early. Lot of small mistakes here, but again, I just want to really quick praise Trimby. Alistair level 1, notoriously useless. He leverages that time so well to make an impact elsewhere on the map. Flash forward! Benjarang won't do it.
So close for both these solo lanes. Broken Blade getting the upper hand in top, forcing Odoamne's flash. He's going to have to TP back already. Caps forced to flash as well. Level 1 in favor of the Victor with the Q shield. He was scared that the cooldown was coming up again. He thought with the attack speed level on E that he could win it out. But this is the invade again. Broken Blade wins out against Odoamne. Basically can 1v2 them if they walk up. Jankos will be blast coning over to help out, and Trimby just smart positioning. Doesn't want to give away where he is. Flash over, the second Jankos ease in, and there's no escape. Even if he flashes here, I think he's pretty much dead.
I like it. Really solid.
And first blood to Malrang as well in a jungle matchup where Xin Zhao can't farm as fast as Hecarim, wants to get a little bit more done. So now not only does the Hecarim have first blood, and will get boots in the first base after the full clear, Jankos is also on the back foot, still not level 3.
And that first base is so important because, again, 2-camp lead, recall now, see what he gets with all this money, because obviously he has the first blood gold as well, debating on what his options are.
Doesn't want to go for Lucidity, just wants to get a little bit of tankiness.
Makes sense. Wants to get closer and closer, maybe do an early chem tank. just for the extra engage and playmaking. But we talk about this a lot with AP junglers like Nidalee, how getting early itemization just exponentially increases your clear. And Hecarim is one of the few junglers where I think that's also true, because boots are not only AD, they're faster movement between camps, and this is going to make it so easy for Malrang to either get more ganks off or build up a larger CS lead.
As Basin gone towards the top side, Jankos just hit level 3. And they got vision of Jankos, so not... I think they saw him out on towards the bot side, and I will see if Malrang decides to walk into their top side or just go for a full clear, which would be the safest bet, because important to note here, if G2 don't do anything in the early game, I feel like Rogue is just favored if the game is even at 20 minutes. They have to stack up these dragons, get an early Herald, maybe force some kind of dive or play with the TF ultimate. Yes, they can play over side lanes and punish Odoamne, which will be their main target throughout the game, I think. But if Rogue are even, I think they're just going to run over them in fights.
And a good thing to recognize too, because I think for me, I'm a 1-0 Hecarim with an item advantage. I'm running into the enemy jungle every time, but that's the discipline we talk about with Rogue. They will take risks on occasion, but for the most part, they have a battle plan. They know they outscale. There's no point in trying to over-aggressively push an advantage when it could turn against you.
Yeah, Larssen running the first strike on the Victor. Will scale very well. That rune, of course, he's into TF, so he'll win out on the trades anyway. Has a little bit of CS lead. Still hasn't TP'd back just yet, and G2 have had this bot push the entire game. You can see on the minimap the amount of vision that they have on the bot side, so they're going to spot out Malrang wherever he is if he enters this river. I think the ward spots out these on Raptors. G2 get information. Jankos still yet to base after the Krugs. We'll see if he chooses to do so, because top has no flash.
And so far, pretty smooth recovery. I think the big question is, what can Jankos do now that he's been put behind in the early game? Yes, for the most part, it feels like he's just obligated to farm to clear out some of these camps.
He's spotted there.
Blade. So trading aggressively on the top side of the map. It looks like it's going to be early tabbies for Odoamne on the next recall.
Larssen has mid push here, I believe, and Malrang spotted Jankos walking to his top side jungle. He has no flash. Going. He has a blast cone to get out.
Who's baiting
Caps is here first.
Malrang already ghosting. They're going to turn on Caps. They see Caps exposed in the 1v1, and he knows he can win out on this one. Caps is just going to go down. Oh, man, that was rough.
Yeah, they didn't know where Malrang was. They knew he was in the river somewhere, so Caps thought, well, I'll collapse first. Hang on, bot fight.
Empowered auto, where's it going to go? Taunt now coming in. Targamas, of course, has the aftershock. He's pretty tanky, but now has to flash into safety. Flash Ignite. Cop going in for one more auto. Going to finish it. And Rogue are bleeding G2 out. Caps, one death already, forced to have that early flash in the mid lane. Malrang with 2 kills on the board. Comp getting the 2v2 kill. This early game from Rogue is devastating.
Definitely is, and the comp is terrible if you fall behind early. I think G2, single target damage, have to play over side lane. Hecarim's already accelerated. Bot is winning. Mid is winning for Rogue. And Broken Blade hasn't found any real advantage in topside. Jankos got spotted out when he entered the topside river. Broken Blade still even with Odoamne, has the TP advantage, but that's about all that G2 have got going for them.
Yeah, and again, you talked about it, Odoamne evening it up. Caps now has level 6, but Larssen, if he gets far enough ahead, is going to have very real kill pressure, already 13 CS up. Now, normally, of course, Twisted Fate passive would balance out some of that discrepancy, and certainly this wave will, but with first strike on the Victor as well, it feels like he's going to be able to hold on to that gold lead, even despite that passive.
Definitely, and Rogue should have 3 pushing lanes now as they come out of base. G2 first into bot side river. Caps has got the ult, like you said, but he also has the ignite, so if he does find any play, does have a lot of damage despite only having boots just now. Jankos trying to catch up still to Malrang. Yes, he's even in camps, but these 2 kills are really hurting the inventories.
And remember what Rogue are fighting for here. It's the choice between G2 and Misfits. If they win here commandingly enough, they can always pick G2. Most people would expect first seed to pick Misfits, but definitely the options on the table. And Rogue, good to see this level of consistency. There's a reason that they are fighting for first in the regular season.
I think if Rogue do win here, it's going to be G2 Fnatic in the first best of 5 if they pick Misfits. So we'll see what G2 can do to come back. I mean, yeah, again, 3 pushing lanes. Targamas hovering around mid. Larssen still has flash, so I think he's maybe just here to cover. There's no real kill pressure. He has Hex Flash to go into the River Brush, but that's already pink warded. Larssen just poking Caps at max range.
This is just going to be a difficult game if Rogue keep this lead up, because we've highlighted it for the compositional reasons, but also on top of that, you have a Galio who can maybe respond to some of Caps' roaming plays. Targamas fishing for something here in the mid lane. Luckily, they have the vision laid down, but it is going to force Larssen to play a little bit safer. Only has that last stack of the Corrupting Potion.
So the early game has slowed down a lot. Both jungles will be getting closer and closer towards level 6. Herald spawning in 20 seconds. Malrang is hovering around mid. Should be very close to having that ultimate available when he levels up. Gonna do Grump, and then maybe they look for a Herald start because Trimby has bot push now. He can move towards mid top side because Targamas was hovering around for so long. Rogue got the bot push. He has to stay here to make sure Flacket can't get dove. So that allows Trimby to either zone them away, keep them on the tower, look for poke, or be on a roam timer for this Herald spawn.
And I think the big thing here for me, Casual, is you called it out already that Rogue just outscale, so they don't have to do anything crazy. And if you think about it, all 3 of their kills are them punishing G2. They punished Jankos for moving to the top side, or for Caps rather for trying to move up. They punished the early level 1 invade, and of course they punished on the bot side when Targamas got over-aggressive in the 2v2 engage. So I feel like Rogue are chilling. G2 keep making plays, and if another one turns against them, this game is going to get out of hand so much faster, but credit to Rogue. They're just staying the course.
And that's what they need to do. That's what their comp wants to do. Just try to cut as many losses as possible and punish mistakes, and they've been punishing them, and they've got themselves a pretty hefty lead at 8 minutes into the game. Jankos is the one to take over the Herald. Broken Blade is going to try to get top push to be here first, but Odoamne is ignoring the wave, and he has Mega Gnar. Jankos could be sandwiched here by a Hecarim and a Mega Gnar. Trimmy's not level 6 yet, but he's going to join up with Malrang. Targamas is far away. Jankos, he might be in danger. Might be Caps.
They're just picking on this Twisted Fate. The Ignite goes down. Caps is not really a way out of this one. Gold card, maybe can flash over the wall.
Flash ult away, maybe?
Now can ult to safety. Jankos in the meantime gets the Herald. That is big. That's going to be a little bit more gold in their pocket. It looks like it might cost Jankos his life. Targamas, I don't really think he can come over the wall on that one. Jankos giving his life up for the Herald. Caps his flash as well, but definitely not everything Rogue wanted from that trade.
Yeah, that was a very risky play from Jankos because Targamas was late. Flakkid wasn't rotating whatsoever, and Odoamne had Mega Gnar, so that 4v4 would have been horrible for G2. Luckily, Caps is almost like a bait for Rogue. They tried to collapse onto him. They forced him to flash away, but he doesn't die, which is important. I mean, look at the setup right now for G2. Caps is literally face-checking the enemy jungle support. Odoamne has top push with Mega Gnar. Targamas is late. Comp has cleanse.
So you can cleanse that one out. Get that cooldown down. It means they're going to have to go bot again if they want to punish that summoner being missing. Trimby, though, with level 6 is going to make it that much harder. Or not level 6 yet, but on the way to level 6.
Biggest question is, what can G2 get done with this Herald? I guess you just have to pop it top and try to get Broken Blade ahead, because even that lane looks like it's struggling.
Odoamne is winning. Can he find the solo bow? He'll throw the rock at him. Broken Blade going. Pick the rock up. Throw the rock one more time.
Rock.
Not going to go in. It's a space shuttle. Sorry, I got to keep track of the skin.
Was very close to hitting. If that hit, Q slows, flash auto attack, he's dead. Solo kill top, the only lane that's quote-unquote should be winning for G2 would then be losing. It's still a little bit of bot push. Trimby fails a Hex Flash to look for the taunt to force Flakkid to jump away, but it won't surmount too much. Trimby should get level 6 off this wave. Targamas moving towards mid, trying to shut down Larsen's push. Look at the CS lead in mid. 30 CS lead for Larsen right now. Level lead. G2 really need to find something. They don't have the TF ult, they use it bot, and all they got was Comp's cleanse.
And it's wild to look at the in-game timer, because it's only 10 minutes and it feels like G2 are just have been being bled out for like a half an hour. This has been super clean from Rogue, and every time it feels like G2 try to make the play, they just cannot get much from it. The only thing they have really succeeded in getting is that Herald. And again, that's the point that you talked about. That's the thing that we have to look at. But they don't have a winning lane to use it in. So it feels like it's just going to have to be one of those Heralds where it's you either force a man advantage and give something else up, or just throw it down and get 2 plates and be happy with that little bit of gold.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they just need to do. Find some kind of Herald gold plating. And the problem G2 have is their whole comp revolves around Xin Zhao in the early. Like level 1 to 6, yes, Rogue might have pushing lanes, but they have to be very scared of where Xin Zhao is. Very scared of where he's clearing towards, where he's on the map. Kill pressure in mid, no cleanse on Larsen, try to unlock, get his flash, and then Caps can look for a push. That's how they play the game. Maybe then bring Caps up towards top, but him being put behind at level 1, giving up a kill, and having him at level 3 in like 3 or 4 minutes into the game is disastrous, because one ward, he's found, he's behind, and Rogue can just keep pushing in. Broken Blade's trying to help out the mid push, which is what G2 need to find something on the map.
Oh. Credit to Larsen keeping that pressure up, making sure the roaming options are limited, and really for Rogue in general, just punishing Caps anytime he takes a step out of that mid lane. They are looking for the kill. That said, they're waiting in darkness, but Trimby just wants the fight. He knew that they were there. He was ready for it. Malrang now going in. He hasn't even used the ulti yet. He doesn't even need to. Getting knocked back. Now trying to make it out to safety.
Trimby just blind dashing into it. Did they have any vision on G2 there? Maybe he knew they were looking for some kind of pick. I mean, Caps might be in trouble as well. No flash.
Goes in, gets the gold card. Larsen can now step forward. Jankos can get the fight kicked off. Chaos Storm already going down. Larsen fishing for the solo Volo, but what's it going to cost him? Knock up Galio, not going to make it out. May have overstayed. Luckily for him, Jankos is going to get stunned up there, but Larsen, I think, a little bit blindly chasing after Caps there. Cost his support's life.
Yeah, definitely was. He tried to find the kill, but Caps had Ghost because of the spellbook, so even though Larsen flashed forwards, he popped it and ran away. There's a Dragon, gonna throw an auto attack on the Flakkid, and that's still not been taken whatsoever. 12 minutes, 30 seconds into the game. Jankos has the Herald. He's gonna drop it top on this pushing top wave. Caps has ultimate. He could run from base to top here and just look for just some kind of dive, get G2 rolling somewhere on the map.
Back, Broken Blade. Odoamne saving that hot. Malrang on the way up, about to have Mega Gnar as well. Broken Blade now has to run. Jankos, they know he does not have the ultimate up and available. They can try to collapse onto him. They're going to force the flash out early. Caps going in, but this is risky. Yes, he has a gold card, but he doesn't have a lot else. Narum back into the wall, look to finish that one. Malrang trying to get the kill done. Trimby on the way in. Keep your eyes on the taunt. No, keep your eyes on the bottom lane. Targamas going to go down, but it's a 1-for-1, and it means Flacken gets uncontested time on the bottom side. Meanwhile, back to the top lane. Jankos gets shredded. Broken Blade fishing for one more, and Disaster starting to strike for Rogue because Broken Blade is just too clean. It is indeed a heroic swing, and he'll get the kill trade in the end.
So many kills on both sides of the map. When the camera panned away from top, I thought G2 were losing it, but somehow they found kills. The Herald won't crash. Very awkward fight for Jankos because the second Caps arrives, I think the Herald was about to run out, so he literally had to stand there and place it while his mid laner was dying. Eventually he rejoined. Broken Blade gets a few kills. Flacket gets a lot of plates in bot. Unfortunately, Targamas got the kill in that dive exchange, but still, something for G2 is important.
Flacket the big winner here. You can see at least individually he has that gold lead. Cole now completed as well. He's going to have a decent shot when he does go back. Can look to match the Berserker's Greaves that Comp has already picked up. Two slowly finding a window back. Yes, it's still a 3K deficit, but now they have some stronger points on the map. Really a big struggle game for Caps, though. Has been a rough one.
Even though it was sort of an even trade, I think slightly G2 favored. Them getting their first items is very important. Hullbreaker, Kraken Slayer, get Tristana on one item. Make it so they can at least force somewhere before Rogue gets to 2.
Certainly. Now we take a look at the bot side play. Of course, we saw this one earlier briefly, but we can see how it will play out entirely.
Yeah, Targamas not level 6 here is a bit painful. Does hit the W on the flash of Comp, so is able to follow up with the Q. If he had ult there before, maybe he could have got the kill. There's no point leveling up and ulting there because he's going to die anyway because the tower is ramped up. And G2 somehow win out on that top fight. Getting kills onto Broken Blade. 2 kills on him, Hullbreaker complete. Maybe he can start pushing in Odoamne, who's matched the Hullbreaker. Stragan still up, almost 15 minutes into the game. Rogue gonna look to set that one up now.
Ready to start that one. I think Rogue may be confident they're outscaling, don't really feel the need to push that objective. Knockback though, Broken Blade caught out, that's the wall up. Again, it's about how many of those little space shuttles he can hit, or whatever they are. I guess it's Elderwood Gnar. I have no idea what he throws. He throws
Traps
something, can he throw something else though? Because a gold card's getting thrown at him, and that means one dead little Yordle. In the meantime, Rogue will get a dragon back, but Broken Blade getting that kill is pretty big.
This is how G2 want the game to be played. They want to ult top, get Broken Blade ahead, get him kills, get him some kind of push. They might fight bot as well, G2.
Targamas now kicking things off. He still has the ultimate available from the previous fight. Immediately going to use it. Trimby just getting shredded through. Malrang going to be in trouble. Double TP used. Jankos continuing to step forward. Has the damage reduction. Unstoppable, yes, but Caps on the way forward. Use the Summoner's Spellbook, just trying to land the gold card. Just wants to get something done, but Comp is fearless. He's already ulted.
So
the movement speed is ramping, and they might not have great options. If he doesn't get hit by the gold card, he might be able to kill everybody. Comp keeps it going. Plays just outside of Caps' range. Comp, you absolute mad lad. He goes golden, but he's got so much damage. The stacks are still there. He's like lightning. He just keeps moving. The stacks are still coming. The rest of Rogue is on the way. Comp, the absolute hero play. Zeri, so damn fast, and it looks good. Comp makes it happen.
The glimmer of hope for G2 fades away in an instant. The Zeri was so stacked up, and G2 were trying to chase Lockdown, Compo, Malrang, at least get a kill or two for those double TP investments, but they get nothing, and they all die. Over chasing into Rogue, they collapse down and they get themselves a couple kills. We'll see that one again because it all started in the bot lane. They got a kill on top. Caps with the ultimate, then TP's down bot. It looks so good for G2 because they single out one target, which is how their single target damage composition works. Targamas with the ult survives through it all, and the tower being so low means they can chase, but Caps flashed on the top player earlier on, so he can't lock down Malrang. All the meanwhile, Comp stacking up, emoting at the same time. APM is through the roof, and G2 quickly realize, how can we stop the Zeri? Answer is, they can't.
They can't. 27, 28. I've just been counting the auto attacks. 29, 30. This man is just doing work. That's so many stacks.
The problem is if you run away, he's going to chase you. And if you turn back, he's going to kite you. So it's a catch-22 and Rogue collapse.
I mean, yeah. The thing is, you have to turn on the gold card. You have to hit it at the right time, and everyone has to go in. But you can see the grin on the face. Comp knows he just did work in that fight. He just played Zeri to the absolute maximum end of her potential. That is the dream scenario. Now he goes back, he gets the Tiamat, he's getting further ahead, and Rogue looked a little shaky in some of those exchanges, but they are well and truly in control of the game again.
And the cleanse is like the cherry on top because he just knows the only lockdown G2 have. Because there's no creeps for Jankos to stack up his Q3 is the stun card. So he's confident enough to peel for himself. The Everfrost almost caught him off guard, but still got away from the Tristana explosive charge and managed to live. So now Rogue get 2 towers for themselves, mid and top. Broken Blade looking for Larson, who has flash.
Good poke, but just zoning him away. Larson gonna give them that respect and walk away from the wave for at least a moment because he doesn't have vision on where G2 are. Odoamne keeping up pressure in a side lane.
Can I just say, look at mid lane CS. Caps is almost down around 80 CS right now if Larson catches another wave. 17 minutes in. He has been sacking so many waves to play for his team. He's 2,000 gold behind.
And I said I was worried about Rogue, but I'm also very excited for Rogue because this performance is amazing. From the team as a whole, from Larson as an individual, and across the board. Trimby, massive playmaker. Yes, got caught out a little bit on the bottom side there, but Rogue are looking fantastic. Almost Flame, Horizon, and Caps is no easy feat, and it is a team effort, but Larson, massive in this game.
2 levels up as well. All lanes doing so well. Broken Blade last picking top. And yes, the jungle early did negate a lot of the pressure that they would have wanted, but still 30 CS lead for Odoamne. Comp is ahead. All these lanes just with the push and in favor of Rogue.
And this is a big thing for Odo, I think, again, beating that counter pick. The fact that Broken Blade seems to have infinite up his sleeves and Odoamne is comfortable just taking a blind pick champion into it is so important, especially for the best of 5, because even if G2 somehow win this game, Rogue are probably feeling okay about that potential matchup because Odoamne seems to be the rock you need going up against a team like G2 with a player like Broken Blade, who's the guy who's getting counter picks every game. G2, a topside team. They know it, we know it, everybody knows it.
Yeah, look at the stats. The main carry for G2, get him ahead, and that's their win condition the majority of the time. But when you're up against such a veteran, such an experienced player like Odoamne, that becomes extremely difficult. Safe Nar, blind pick, 2 bans for him. That's it. You don't really have to play topside. Happy days for him. He's actually getting a lead in this lane. Of course, the jungle early really did affect what Broken Blade wanted to do with it. But nevertheless, still Rogue handling G2 very well. We'll see what they can do over side lane, though, because they need to cover them. And this is the importance of the Galio pick on 5 from Rogue, because if Caps decides to ult for Broken Blade, Trimby joining Odoamne, I think that 2v2 is still pretty even despite it only being a support. Trimby can lock them up, CC them, the chain CC from the Meganar as well. So I think Trimby's idea behind this game is just to track Caps, follow him where he is. If he's top, he can only ult mid. If he's mid, he can ult to either side, but he never really will be. So he needs to make sure, where is Caps? What can I do to shut him down? I need to match my ult with his every time they look for Odoamne.
And for now, I think that 2v2 is favorable. They have the CC, and Caps does not really have the damage yet at this point in the game. Level 13 damage is not going to be bad. Certainly once Rapid Fire Cannon and another item comes online, damage will be pretty dang good. But for now, with just the Everfrost, the potential is there. Rogue continuing to just get scarier and scarier. Comp working on Runance. Gonna have a Tiamat item after that. This is a very powerful Zero.
And like we said, scaling favors Rogue. If the game is slow and they keep this lead, G2 are just gonna bleed out. They have to fight this. They see Odoamne on the Drake. He's gonna have to jump away.
Odoamne knocked up, gets canceled on the knockup, but he's gonna go for it. He steals the Drake. He gets it. There's no jungler in the pit. Now it's the flash forward, the taunt, the Meganar. He knocks him right back. It's the bounce house. It is absolute dunk town. G2 just the ball on this one because they are getting knocked around.
That's how the team fights play out if G2 don't have an incredibly good setup beforehand. Rogue, so much AoE damage, 20 minutes in the game. 3 members of G2 dead. That's going to be a Baron start for them. Jankos is alive. Smite might come off cooldown by the time Rogue get it low enough. Broken Blade is as well. We'll see how they dissect this Baron play, G2, because if this goes, I think that's it. You can't play over sides whatsoever. Jankos on Grump. It is gone.
Dang. That was huge. Odoamne even wanted to leave. He was like, thank you for stopping me. That worked out.
It was a slaughter, honestly. I mean, G2, they know they have to do something. Giving up a dragon just gives Rogue even more scaling conditions. Good cancel on the jump, but that came back to bite them when Odoamne gets the dragon with the passive Q on W as well. And then the flash in taunt, Odoamne Meganar. I mean, what can G2 really do against those champions in a river fight when they're this far behind?
Look at Comp. 1v2 zoning them away. It's not getting any easier, that's for certain. 8K. Ooh, math. 8K gold lead, 2.5 items, Zeri. And it's, is it Dunzo? Are we at the Dunzo threshold?
It does feel Dunzo, doesn't it? But we've said that about a lot of games in the LEC in recent weeks.
Oh, pause.
And a lot of them have backfired. Pause. Interesting, because there's no team fight or anything, so there's no real
Great.
instant issues, I think.
Sometimes you have to wait for a dead ball state, depending on what's going on here.
Larson's looking at me and giving me a wave. He's happy.
Larson. Oh, maybe we're not supposed to do that. Might not be professional. Anyway, reminder of stakes. Rogue win. Rogue first. Fnatic are second. Misfits are third. G2 are fourth. G2 win. Fnatic are first. Rogue are second. Misfits are third. G2 are fourth. As a reminder of how our playoffs format works, all 4 of these teams are in the upper bracket, but the first place team gets to pick their opponent between the 3rd and 4th place teams, which regardless of the result of this game will be Misfits and G2. So hopefully that's simple enough for you. You can check a look at the standings or the brackets and understand it maybe a little bit better when you have a visual example. But in the meantime, have a break. Have a Kit Kat. I did a Kit Kat ad.
Yes, you did. I was in it as well, briefly.
Yeah, we were in it together. They were very excited when they told me that I was the first person with tattooed hands to be in a Kit Kat ad. So
record breaker.
Bam.
World's first.
Bam. World's first.
Just like that.
I got my first tattooed hands. You got your first playoffs with Excel. We're record breaking.
This year, a lot of record breaks.
It's a lot of record breaks. Upset, at least Deaths in a single split.
Well, we'll see if Rogue can break their losing streak record in playoffs when it comes to playoffs. Because what I want to say is a lot of people think of
like the amount of times they haven't lifted the trophy.
They haven't lifted the trophy, which was once, I guess.
Like, are we tracking that?
No, but what I was going to say is a lot of people, when they think of Rogue, they think of like, you know, the playoffs suck, right? But they think of like choking, I will say. You know, when the pressure's on, that's when they really seem to fall over. Because in regular season, fantastic. In best of fives, in the early stages of playoffs, fantastic. But when the pressure's on, they don't really show up the occasion. But this time around, I think this is a lot of a pressure game on stage, fighting for first. They're showing up. Larson's happy. He's swirling around in his chair, smiling, waving around.
It's good to see them rewarded for that mentality, because we've heard from every team that plays against them, they're fantastic scrim partners because they're so consistent. It never gets crazy. It's always disciplined and focused. And the fact that we also see that on stage means I think they're seeing a lot of success and replicating scrim results into stage games, which we hear from so many teams is a massive, massive issue. It's a hard thing to do. We'll see now what Rogue can do with this lead. Rogue can do with this Baron. Thought. Trippy now stepping forward. Mountain getting the engage kicked off. Targamas dead. Targamas gone. TB now coming in. That's a Mega Gnar. Odoamne stepping forward, leaping into Broken Blade to flash out, but Odoamne waits on the Gnar ultimate. On the backside, though, Comp going to be in trouble now using his ult. Everfrost has locked him up. Flackhead going down. G2 lambs to the slaughter, being picked apart one single member at a time. Comp now dashing over the wall, dealing a bit more damage. The siege will only continue for Rogue, and it's feeling impossible for a G2 win.
What just happened? G2 were looking for some kind of pick on top lane, but Rogue were there. The whole team was around, and they just shut it down instantly in a blink of an eye as we come out of the pause. And they're going to get this top tier 2. They should get more as well. Mid tier 2 is probably going to fall as well. Odoamne is running bot with this Baron buff to buff up the creeps to look for the bot tier 2. And G2, yeah, the longer this goes, the worse it gets. Over a 10k gold lead now for Rogue. Maybe they just want to dive them.
Yep, step forward. Mount right now going to look to knock Jankos back. Caps has to wait on that gold card because there's so many targets that he needs to stun. Larson is massive. Comp is massive. It's going to be a difficult game. And Odoamne continues to split push up. It's a full court press from Rogue. G2 trying to find a single exposed member or an exposed flank while Rogue are split like this, but there's just not a lot of options.
Basically the perfect Baron play. No one gets caught. You get a couple kills when they try to do so, and you get all 3 inner towers. 6 towers to 1. Rogue don't really have to risk any kind of siege. They don't have ultimates up. Let's just back off, spend our gold that we got, plus 6k on this Baron play, and then we come out of base, control the map, look for dragons, and punish G2 if they walk up too far. As I say that, Rogue are going to stay around. Trippy has ultimate after having base. Maybe they do fancy themselves this mid-tier 3.
I want to keep the pressure for now. As long as they have this cannon, again, it's hard for them to clear that wave. Caps is their wave clear, but he's pitching for the flank. That's the knock-up into 2, but Trimby's on the way in. They don't have the damage. They don't have the tools to win this fight. That's at Comp. He's trying to go for the Zinsack, but it will not work there. Cap stepping forward, locking him down. That's Comp dead. That's a big shutdown. That's 900 gold for Jankos. And suddenly G2 are turning it, but just as suddenly it's turned against them. Odoamne comes in. Double kill for the Gnar. Cap's running. Maurin going to keep the chase up. Keep him away from the base. Keep him away from clearing the minions, and they can keep the pressure in the mid lane. But instead, just chasing for the kills here as Odoamne uses his teammate's head to jump in.